I have these moments where I am inherently angry. Being black living in America is to the point where I feel like I'm losing my mind. As I'm on Facebook, which is synced to my Twitter account and I believe IG as well, I only use Facebook and I sync everything that I say to the other social media networks just for the, art of saving time. So I'm on Facebook and I'm just really going in about the whole Bill Cosby situation. And I watched this story play out for months and didn't really speak on it because I wanted to see what was going to come out, what was going to come of it. From what I've heard, they have been coming after Bill Cosby for decades now over these same allegations. I have never seen a situation where it can be proven that a black man did something and they got away with it for decades and decades and decades. Look at O.J. Simpson. I mean, he's in jail right now for stealing back his own stuff. It's like, white supremacy, they decide who they want to crucify, who they don't want to crucify. We have Charlie Sheen, who came out and said he has HIV, he slept with numerous women, knowing he had HIV, did not tell them he had HIV. So to me, that's attempted murder. It's a little bit more important, not important, but it's a little bit more of a higher danger factor there than Bill Cosby allegedly raping women, even though rape is not a joke. I am a woman, obviously. I have been sexually assaulted. I've gone through all of that. There's I think a number being thrown around. I haven't had a chance to really confirm, but I know for a fact every black woman I know has been molested before they hit the age of 18. And there's a number that about 60% of black women, I think is probably more, because we don't always report it, have been molested before the age of 18. My son in the background, I guess he wants to have something to say. Okay, so anyways. So I just had to speak on it because I'm just like, I'm feeling really angry. The Bill Cosby situation is coming on the heels of Tamir Rice's murderer having no indictment, Sandra Bland's murderer walking away with no indictment, Eric Garner's murderer walking away with no indictment, Michael Brown's murderer walking away with no indictment, Trayvon Martin's murderer walking away with no indictment. I mean, this is like back to 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 back, and then you come out of this woodworks. Whenever it's us, it's always some suspect shit. Like Michael Jackson, he OD'd on too much sleep, I think. I mean, what was that? That is a suspicious ass, suspect ass death. We all know why he really was murdered. And then on top of why they really murdered him, they go and pin it on a black man. So 2 birds for 1 stone. You get rid of one black man by death. You get rid of the other one by throwing him in jail. And then with, Bill Cosby situation, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, so these same black people who are ready to crucify Bill Cosby will be quick to buy an R. Kelly CD, even though R. Kelly married Aaliyah. Like, am I going crazy here? Like, I just feel like, am I going freaking crazy? Or is everyone crazy but me, or am I the crazy one and everyone else is sane? Where in there is there any freaking logic? Why are the people who are blatantly doing things like Woody Allen marrying his foster daughter that he molested before she turned 18 and then went on to marry her? And then his other foster daughter came out and said that she was also molested or raped by him as well. Why isn't he being crucified in the media? Why isn't he in handcuffs? Then you have Daniel Holtzclaw, who the media was crickets with him. You literally heard nothing about his situation. He had raped 13 black women. 13 black women. I didn't hear a peep when his trial was going on. And yeah, you may say, well, they did put him in jail. He's in jail for 8 of the rapes, for 8 of the women. So there's quite a few. I don't know the math off the top of my head. Was that 5? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 5, at least 5 black women who are not, that we know about, who are not getting justice. And he had the nerve to cry. That was a whole ploy as well to act like, feel sorry for me. We don't feel sorry for you. And they had to take a loss as someone else, as Tariq. She said they had to take an L on it. They can't just keep letting everybody walk. But no, you didn't hear much about his case. You didn't hear much about the subway guy. Ben Roethlisberger is still running free. You don't hear them crucifying our forefathers who were not only slave owners but raped plenty of black women and even had children with them. So we're just gonna ignore that and act like that didn't happen. We're just gonna ignore all that. But apparently we're supposed to sit here and put Bill Cosby's feet to the fire when there's no proof of anything really happening. And then people want to go on this weak deposition. Oh, he admitted it. He didn't admit it. He admitted to buying Quaaludes, which back in the day meant something else entirely. All he did was admit to purchasing them. I do not believe he said he actually used them on anyone. He could have been taking them for himself. Who knows? You know, it was the 60s. Everyone's taking a billion bajillion drugs back then and sleeping with everybody. And I'm not the one to ever blame a woman for sexual assault, for rape, molestation. I'm never the one to say, well, she shouldn't have been wearing this, or she shouldn't have been out at the club at this time, or blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that because that's victim blaming. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that woman. But why are these women in his hotel room when he's married? Like, what kind of character do they have? They already knew he was married. They're going to a hotel room. What did you expect to go down? Were you going for a little meeting? I mean, you couldn't have a lunch date. You couldn't have a meeting in a more appropriate time. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. My son is working my nerves right now. But you couldn't have a meeting in a more appropriate place, in a more appropriate time. You knew he was married. It sounds like a setup to me. You go to a man's hotel room at sketchy hours, and, you know, next thing you know, you're coming out, oh, he raped me, blah, 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 blah. That's like the oldest, you know, trick in the book. And as Tariq Nasheed said, which I completely already knew this and agree, we are literally looking at a public lynching. We are literally looking at a public lynching. White supremacy wants to see have us watch them hang Bill Cosby. They want us to watch them publicly hang Bill Cosby. So they parade him in front of the cameras. They have a mugshot that they quickly put out. It's like and the media's like all over it. And I guess you could say, well, he's a celebrity, so blah, 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 blah. I mean, every time people say whatever, it's too easy to refute those facts. The popes have touched some of everybody. They get away with murder. Of course, because it's a church, and we all know the church is behind slavery. And so you can't touch the church, the beloved Catholic or Christian churches. So they can do whatever they want, right? And they have the right color of skin. But you know, we can always go back to Charlie Sheen and people say, oh, it was consensual. It's consensual when you don't know that your partner has HIV. Sure, it's consensual. I don't think he was exactly bragging about it. Why do you think he was being blackmailed and had to finally be forced into public and into truth, and people want to applaud him? No, he didn't do it because he's a hero. He did it because people were blackmailing him and he was running out of money. So anyways, I'm just at the point now where I'm like, I know I can't be crazy. I have 3 degrees. I'm highly intelligent, extremely well-spoken, very articulate. Grew up in one of the best, you know, areas in the nation, some of the best schools. And until I speak of white supremacy and black power and our rights and loving myself, I was pretty freaking sane up to that point to my friends and family and anyone else who knew me. I was extremely intelligent to them. But then when I decided to finally speak out against the injustice I was seeing and the unfairness and the inequalities of being black in America, the things we had to face, suddenly I'm a Looney Tune. So maybe you're the Looney Tune because you don't see what's right in your face. And maybe you're the stupid one because you refuse to pick up a book and read for yourself the truth. You know? So, like, yeah. I mean, most people are spewing stuff out to me on Facebook that they learned in elementary school. So you haven't picked up a book since 4th grade? Is that what we're talking about? Is that what we're saying? Because A lot of stuff people were saying to me, I learned in about 4th grade. I am 33 years old. I just watched The Valley of the Dry Bones. I've read, I have Mayat. I've read so many different books. I have a little library that I'm creating, Black Root Science. It's not that easy to read, but I'm like halfway through it. I'm constantly watching videos. I follow Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Claude Anderson, Tariq Nasheed. I've watched all 3 Hidden Colors. I mean, I clearly am educating myself and teaching myself that the white education system is not going to teach me. My son is smiling and laughing at me because he knows mommy's telling the truth. Children know the truth, especially babies. They're as close to our ancestors as they can get. But I'm clearly educating myself because I just refuse. Things just aren't adding up. You know, even when I was going to church and I was a Christian or whatever you want to call it, I just never felt like the Bible made much sense. You know, I'm like, I'm trying to feel it, but I felt so like I was struggling within myself. It didn't feel normal. It didn't feel right. It's like I'm trying to make this Jesus thing work, but who is he? Like, I really didn't understand what was going on. Like, where does he fit in the picture? Why is it so important for Jesus to exist in my mind? Like, why is it so important for him to exist in this church? Like, where does he fit? Why can't we just worship God, a faceless God? Why is it's so important that Jesus fit in this story somewhere, and he just happens to look like a white guy? But we all know, you read the Bible, that Jesus did not look like a white guy, which I never understood because I saw that when I was a kid. I'm like, he has gray hair, he's got feet like copper, the color of copper, you know, he was blending in with black people, and it's just like one thing after another, and it just, none of it made sense. And I refuse to sit here for the sake of being scared or whatever, because it's like, what's the point of living if you're not truly living freely, living free and living your truth? I refuse to sit here and act like a psycho and just believe bull crap so that I can be saved for what? To continue to live in chains? I'm not going to do it. So I just wanted to do a quick, my talk show that I guess I'm beginning. I didn't know I was starting it, but I feel like I just have so many things I want to speak out on, and it's starting with Bill Cosby because I'm angry. Like, I don't have words for how angry I am. So some people, black people, they don't really know what solutions they want to do to fight back against white supremacy. You don't have to be violent. You know, choose what you want to do, but you really don't have to be violent. You can, you know, you can boycott whites owned businesses. You can shop black owned. Just support your own people. You can network and meet other black people, pull your resources together, build businesses together by putting your money together, hire black people, own businesses, black people. The solution is going to be in economic power. Right now, black people are we have the least power economically, and so we are such an easy target. And the fact that white people are a total opposite of us, and they've hated us since the beginning, since they've ever laid eyes on us, because they know who we are. They know our power. They know the power we possess. They know the power our continent possesses, Africa. They know how much they need Africa. So, you know, you guys just follow me. I'll keep dropping jewels and giving you guys this knowledge just a lot of people are too afraid to say. So, you know, tune in next time. I'm so glad to talk to you guys, and subscribe when you get a chance, and have a good night.